for whatever that means. So I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out, what's in my head, and I'm feeling a little peculiar. So I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I say, hey, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I say, hey, what's going on? And I try, oh my God, do I try all the time in this institution, and I pray, oh my God, do I pray every single day for a revolution. So I try sometimes when I get it all out, what's in my head, and I feel a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I say, hey, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I say, hey, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. I say, hey, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, I say, hey, what's going on?
Welcome. This is called Mindful by Mary Oliver. Every day I see or hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in a haystack of light. It was what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside the soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab. The daily presentations. Oh, good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these? The untrimmable light of the world, the untrimmable light of the world. Whoops, this keeps getting away from me. Sorry about that. The oceans shine, the prayers that are made out of grass. Good morning. My name is Judy Pell, and today I am your worship associate for this congregation. And I use the pronouns she and her. Thank you for joining us today as we begin our journey down the path of delight together. Today we will pay attention to ordinary delight as we explore theology in relation to our sensual experiences. What does a theology of delight look, sound, taste, smell, and feel like? How do our senses contribute to how we process our environments and construct the sacred? How does this relate to being a Unitarian Universalist and contribute to a covenantal faith? Petra, could you do the chalice lighting? Let us begin by lighting our chalice and creating a sacred space. The chalice reminds us of the covenant that binds us together, our 8 Unitarian Universalist principles. This morning's message especially affirms and promotes our 3rd principle, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, and our 4th principle, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Please rise in body or spirit to sing and to sign Spirit of Life, hymn number 123, while Petra Sussman lights the chalice. We have been able to sustain this community since 1955 because of the contributions of our ancestors and because of your contributions. Together, we share our ideas and figure out what might work best for building the beloved community. The sharing of our money goes towards making these ideas come alive and become a part of the world. The ushers will now pass the plate so that you can give as much as you think you need to in order for our ideas to grow and change this community together. Please know that you can also give on our PayPal link or on the Zelle app.
Thank you, Ken and Dorothy, and thank you to all of you for supporting this congregation. And I'd also like to thank Judy for stepping in at the last minute as worship associate. Unfortunately, Rachel was going to be here, but her boys got sick on the way up, so keep them in your thoughts today. Well, our mission here at UUCL is love plus connection equals transformation. So I call you now into this connection part by lifting up some of the opportunities for being together that will be happening around here real soon. This Wednesday evening is dinner worship. We'll be here in the sanctuary at 6:30 p.m. We provide rice, and you provide a dish to go over it that you can share with people, and we talk about, it's a spiritual topic where the conversation is the sermon, and this month's theme is delight. So whatever we talk about, it will be about spiritual delight. I'd like to give a big thank you to Floyd Love and Adam Hargrove for doing some fundraising. They've been coordinating trips to theater performances and giving the proceeds to UUCL. So thank you to Floyd and Adam and to all those who have attended those performances. I would also like to give a great big thank you to our ritual artists. They will appear on the screens behind me. They have created so much fun and delightful surprises for our worship services. I was told maybe I shouldn't leave them unattended, but I think that's when their ideas come to life best. So there they are, the four of them. Be sure to give them a thank you for doing all of the hard work to support our worship. Next week, here in our sanctuary at 11 a.m. will be our annual UUCL Pride service. It will be featuring the UUCL band and also Anita Carson from Equality Florida, who will be coming to talk to us about what's next for LGBTQ rights in this state of Florida. This Saturday, June 10th at 6 p.m. at the Beacon Hill Fellowship, we are having a choir rehearsal for the Pride and Faith service, which is the week of Polk Pride. It's a Thursday night at 7 p.m. at Beacon Hill Fellowship. But we need choir participants. We need people to sing. So please join us at 6 p.m. at Beacon Hill Fellowship this Saturday. It's a great way to connect with other progressive churches in the area. Which brings me to Pride in the Park, which is June 17th. It's a Saturday. Okay, thank you. We will have a tent there, and so we need people to help set up the tent, to be at the tent during the day, to have fun, to talk to people, and then, of course, to break down the tent. So there is a sign-up link in the newsletter. So please go there and sign up, or please let me know that you're able to do so, or Justin, who's currently in the tech room, let them know that you are willing to help out. And also, please know that today, after the service, you are invited to not just snacks and drinks in the social hall that would please your sense of taste, but also to opportunities for touch, smell, sound, and sight. All will be in the social hall after the service, so please join us. Well, all of this and much more is in our e-newsletter that is published every Wednesday and posted on our hallway bulletin board. Great care is taken each week to provide this to you, so please read it and find out how you can engage with the community, with each other, and how we can get to know each other better. All right. So let us center ourselves now as we enter a little deeper into the sacred space. This month, we center ourselves in delight. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Let's think about what that means. Delight as a verb means to please someone greatly or to take great pleasure in something. As a noun, delight is a high degree of gratification or pleasure. But in a religious context, we may ask, what is spiritual delight? Is spiritual delight about pleasing a higher power, as is often proposed in sacred texts? Is it about simply pleasing our own spiritual selves, as a modern-day spiritual consumerist culture might propose? Or is spiritual delight more complex than we can define? Is it multifaceted and interwoven? Is it about being connected and finding delight in the ways our bodies experience those connections? In the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, one of the most famous books on spirituality in India, we find these words that might point us in the right direction. It is written, "I have been listening to the hymns of creation, enchanted by the verses, yet still I am curious. What is this delight-filled universe into which we find ourselves born? What is this mysterious awareness shimmering everywhere within it?" You might notice that first, this author starts with experiencing creation through their senses, and then asks the questions that seek truth and construct meaning. That might seem like an obvious process, but how often do we actually think about it? We read it again. "I have been listening to the hymns of creation, enchanted by the verses. Yet still, I am curious. What is this delight-filled universe into which we find ourselves born? What is this mysterious awareness shimmering everywhere within it?" Us humans have 7 trillion nerve endings in our body with which to, metaphorically speaking, listen to the hymns of creation and become enchanted. And it seems as though what we pay attention to grows. Perhaps if we raise our awareness of where it all begins and we start at the beginning with our senses, paying close attention to the delight-filled universe as it meets our bodies, if we just simply observe the mysterious shimmering that exists all around us, perhaps then we can discover a truthful and meaningful construct of what is divine. So today, as you engage yourself in this worship service, pay attention to how your body meets the world. What do you see, hear, smell, touch, and even taste while you are here in this sanctuary? And how does it call you to be curious? How does it help you to understand what is sacred? What is delightful about being here? Pay attention to that. Religious studies focus heavily on the interpretation of sacred texts. As you can imagine, seminary requires a deep and expansive intellectual exploration of philosophical doctrines. But Unitarian Universalists understand that there are many paths, even within one human body, many paths to God or goodness or spiritual delight. And so within our studies at seminary, we never exclude the sensual experience in the context of worship. And we always consider what it means to embody one's religious values and sense of the sacred. If one embodies grace and compassion, what are the sensual experiences that support that? Where did the body start in this shimmering mystery? What did it experience through the senses that enabled an awareness of grace and compassion? How do our sensual experiences allow us to then behave with grace and compassion? The artist Vito Acconci said, "The body is the place where things happen." And poet Paul Valery wrote, "That which is most profound in the human being is the skin, our very skin. It is a boundary between inner and outer worlds, between self and world. Liminal, semi-porous, our skin is the edge of productive space, the ebb and flow of sight, scent, sound, touch, and taste. Because coexisting with the skin are the sense organs. They are the passageways that allow interrelations between us and the world, us and other people. 7 trillion nerve endings in our body help us navigate this world. Humans and any living thing can only exist in the world because of our senses. As our bodies grow and mature, the senses become finely attuned to our environment. Persons without sight, hearing, or other sense faculties develop other senses in a heightened way to accommodate for a lack in one or the other. Our human senses serve a purpose beyond just survival-based instincts, however. They are also the portals for how we give and receive love. And love is vitally necessary for our survival as healthy, thriving human beings. An awareness that our religious experiences are grounded in the sensual is also mentioned in Hebrews chapter 5, verse 14, where it is written that the senses have been trained by practice to distinguish good from evil. In this passage, the senses are invoked to stir moral judgment. The senses are active. They make decisions and filter information, including filtering processes of moral judgment. Discernment of good and evil is predicated on sensual discernment. And this discernment, partnered with power and privilege, with culture and environment, has built a vast array of religions and spiritual paths. But religion is about a binding together of our human selves. Religion is grounded in relationships and the values we invoke to nurture them or to disconnect ourselves from them. At the center of Unitarian Universalism is a radical love, one that nurtures relationships. It seems to me that it should be vitally important that we examine how we experience this, beginning with the very boundaries of our bodies and how they help us to filter our religious experience here in this place, so that we become aware of the spiritual delight upon which we build this faith community. With so much of life occurring at the surface of our bodies, perhaps it would deepen our spiritualities to pay far more attention to the subtleties, varieties, densities of our sensual experiences. We come to this place each Sunday morning. We sit together. And first and foremost, we experience. These experiences help us deconstruct and reorganize our intellectual concepts of the divine. Our sensory organs are the starting place for reconstructing something new. After spending one sacred hour together each week, we might get curious and ask ourselves, how do I now define what is holy and sacred? Strictly speaking, this sanctuary exists as an objective reality. Take a moment to notice it right now. Look around you. What do you see? What are the sights that draw us closer to spirit, to one another, to something bigger than all of us? What do you see that is spiritually delightful? And then close your eyes and think about what you are hearing, or even what do you smell? What do you touch or even taste? What are the delightful things in this room right now that draw you in and give you the sense that you are in a sacred space? I would like to invite you to name the things that you see or hear, smell, touch, or even taste in this room right now that are delightful and that help you know that you are in a sacred space. So I'd invite you to come up, the microphones also point that way, and just share one thing, just real quick, one simple thing that lets you know that you are in a sacred space.
I'm the newbie, so I can go. The color.
The color. Thank you.
My friends. The size, it encompasses much more than what I experience at home.
Flaming chalice.
Joshua?
One of my favorite songs has the line, "To see God in each other," and I actually spent a moment looking around the room, and I see God in everyone in this room.
There's a chalice up there that connects us with our past.
For me, the gathering and coming together of these different people, we are seeking goodness in different ways, but just the presence of all you good people that come. And I think the word covenant implies sticking through thick and thin, and just being with people that are seeking goodness, but also this place for me is full of wonderful memories. Because I've been coming a lot of years here.
50.
Thank you. 50 years. And so I can remember when I worked with the youth group, we used to have wonderful meetings with the kids with their sleeping bags, and we had wonderful services here. And I can think back over different ministers and spiritual leaders we've had. So one of the good people gathered here, and the memories of past good people that this room is filled with.
Thank you, Kina.
Just a question. How do I refer to that? New.
This new ensemble,
I don't know. Is that, I like it, I just don't know how to.
this mysterious new ensemble.
Yes,
It's a mysterious new ensemble.
that.
Good, you like the new. Thank you, Fran.
Sure.
I too have been coming here a long time, not as long as Keno, but a long time. And it's always been a place I could come to and feel comfortable and know that everybody around me loved me.
Yes.
I guess I'll say, I know I'm in a sacred space when I see people helping each other.
Yes.
Well, you might have noticed how we sense the sacred is not always the same. Although there is a lot of overlap, we certainly value connections here. How we experience delight differs based on the unique pathways that each of us have traveled to even get to this place. Environmental and cultural differences have influenced our overall sensoriums and how we each inhabit this space. Given that we are a diverse and inclusive faith, we recognize that we come from many different cultural and religious backgrounds, and our coming together means we weave a tapestry of many colored strings. Anthropologist Edward T. Hall once stated that people from different cultures not only speak different languages, but, what is possibly more important, inhabit different sensory worlds. Some worlds prioritize certain senses, while others offer a different version of reality. Think about the incense smelled upon entering a Buddhist temple. Sometimes we even smell it here because we share space with the Hokori Zen temple. Consider the bitter herbs eaten at Passover, or the call to prayer during Ramadan. What about the stained glass windows of a Christian church portraying the life of Jesus, or a stroll through the Jodo-inspired gardens of Kyoto, or a meditative spiral or labyrinth in pagan traditions? All of these things call to the senses in different ways. shaping our experiences of the divine in different ways. And yet we gather here in one faith community. Each of our human bodies have biologically inherited sense receptors, but their functions and filtering devices have been altered depending on the religious and cultural practices we have previously experienced. As our third principle states, we covenant to affirm and promote acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. Each of you, from each of your unique spiritual paths and religious backgrounds, is affirmed and accepted here. Our UU values call us to share those experiences, to learn from them together, and to construct healthy and loving ideas of the sacred and the divine through our relationships. We are each a unique part of the universe, better when we are bound together, listening to the hymns of creation, finding delight together. Alan Watts said, "Through our eyes, the universe is perceiving itself. Through our ears, the universe is listening to its harmonies. We are the witnesses through which the universe becomes conscious of its glory, of its magnificence." With that, I would like to invite us into a shared experience of sound, of listening to our own harmonies through music that delights us. So we have about, let's say, 8 minutes or so, and we're going to do a little impromptu hymn sing, which means you choose the hymns. Yeah, so go ahead and pick up a hymnal, and Adam will do his best to figure out which one we're going to sing together, yeah? He's good at these hymn sing things.
Joshua, what number you got?
Oh, which one do I have? I got the book.
Oh.
Sorry, raise your hand.
Go ahead, find your favorite meaningful hymn. Give him a chance.
Yeah?
He's looking.
Okay, I thought you raised it up.
And if you're new and you don't know our hymns, what looks interesting?
How about color and fragrance?
What's that number?
Color and fragrance?
And what's that number?
78.
Number
What's that
78?
number?
78, so in your gray hymnal, please turn to page 78.
sometimes each person has to designate a blessing before a meal. And this chorus, source of all to thee we raise, these are hymns of grateful praise, serves as a liberal's prayer or blessing before a meal. I even sing it sometimes before my meals at home. So,
Okay, can we sing it?
yes.
Let's sing it.
21.
Ellen,
Number 1059.
1059, this will be the last one. 1059 in the teal. Thank you.
Short and sweet. Well, thank you all for contributing to our little mini hymn sing. It's good to hear the music that speaks to you. I think it's important for all of us to hear that from all of us. Well, there's a lot of talk these days about letting the universe guide us, or getting signs from the universe, or collaborating with the universe. But as astronomers like Carl Sagan and philosophers like Alan Watts remind us, we are the universe experiencing itself. So to construct our spiritual experiences around collaborating with it, with the universe, possibly means to pay attention to what is happening at the boundaries of our bodies, our skin, and our other sensory organs. How do we experience the sacred space around us? And furthermore, and even more importantly, how do we experience the love that is generated from our relationships in this sacred space? What more could lead us to delight than love? To collaborate with the universe is to love it and to find in it the delight that it offers. To be human is not just to use our 7 trillion nerve endings for surviving, but for thriving. So let us turn now to a ritual that is found in many Unitarian Universalist congregations. It is a ritual that was created to engage our senses in honoring the emotions that naturally occur throughout our lives. Being in this world does not always give us a sense of delight and joy. We also experience sorrow and pain. Our senses offer us ways of knowing and understanding this complex universe and our encounters with it. So during our ritual of joys and sorrows, we see the different colors of the stones. We feel the stones in our hands, and we hear them drop into the bowl of water. This sensory experience that we all contribute to tells a story each week that speaks to the sacred mystery of the shimmering awareness all around us. It tells a story of how we are right now as a community. Today we have dark blue stones for sorrow and pain. We have light blue for concerns, doubts, or uncertainties, and white stones for joy and delight. So I will invite you to come forward and to place a stone or stones in the bowl of water. when I look in the bowl, I see pretty good balance of joys and concerns and sorrows. I'd say it's a fair reflection of our lived experiences. Thank you. Well, I wrote something for our newsletter this week that I feel is important to say out loud. We talked today about how our senses are the portal for how we encounter the world. From there, our brains intellectualize and construct meaning. Since Unitarian Universalism recognizes relationships as essential to our faith, it is of primary importance how we experience one another. That is why we are a covenantal faith, right? Our covenants guide us so that we are each able to encounter love and to help create a sacred space in what is otherwise outside can be a harsh reality. Or in here, if we don't create something, it's just a place that exists. So this is what I wrote. Unitarian Universalism is not a dogmatic creedal faith. We say this often when we define ourselves. It's only the first part of this story, however. If we only tell this part, then we end up with a faith that has no definition and leads to the false statement that we can believe whatever we want to believe. But not really. That's just not really true. Because there is a second part to this story of who we are, and it is the part that positively defines us. Indeed, we are all on our own spiritual paths, and we hold a wide variety of theological beliefs. But when we become Unitarian Universalists, we root those beliefs in the shared values embodied in our 8 principles. Our principles are the promises, the covenant that we make for how we should be together and in this world. From there, we develop covenants as congregations, as governing boards, as committees, and as small groups. These covenants are a guide for how we want to be together. Each covenant reflects the expected behavior and aspirations for each group, again, deeply rooted in our principles. Covenant is what binds us together and makes us a faith. Covenant guides our thinking, our behavior, and our decisions, and gives us a distinct characteristic that sets us apart from dogmatic religion. Covenant is a reminder of how we should show up with one another. Covenant calls us to care about shaping ourselves in the world with love and justice. Covenant calls us to put our values into action. Covenant makes us Unitarian Universalists. This is the most vital part of who we are as a people of faith. If you don't aspire to be in covenant with the rest of us, perhaps you should ask yourself if you are truly a Unitarian Universalist. As Susan Frederick Gray has said, we are not a casual faith. Yet, we are imperfect humans, and we break covenant again and again. It is why we sing Rumi's, "Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, come, yet again come." This song calls us back in and asks us to do better upon each return, honoring our connections and not destroying them, as disconnection sends us down a spiral of despair. I'd rather have hope in our being together, wouldn't you? We have a congregational covenant. It was written in 2007. We need to write a new one, and I expect that we should be doing so this coming fall. However, it's a good enough covenant, and it is still what we need to turn to along with our 8 principles, as we engage in spiritual reflection and deepen our faith. I suggest you print it out, although I did print out several copies for you. Hang it on your mirror or on the fridge and ask yourself on a regular basis, if you are helping to build the UUCL community by rooting yourself in our values and behaving with the integrity that those words call us to. We are all imperfect, yet we can all grow, supported by values that help us blossom and create a world of beauty and delight. Now, the one disclaimer that I would like to make about our covenant below, or the covenant that we will read together, is in regards to number 5. Sometimes not all views are equal. If you're a person of power and privilege, in other words, those of us who are white, or male, or straight, or cisgendered, or wealthy, have a little bit more power, or a lot more power and privilege than some other folks who are not. So if your views are harmful to people with less power and privilege, and they contribute to ongoing justice and oppression, even in subtle ways, then you are asked to examine those views and understand why they are harmful. Because privilege and power are not bad things. Privilege and power can be used for good. Use your privilege and power to work towards justice and dismantle oppression when the underprivileged and powerless cannot. It is important to be sure to center their voices, however, and their experiences when doing this. Privilege and power are only bad when they are used to harm and perpetuate oppression. So do the work of dismantling oppression within yourself. We all have work to do, me too included. It is a never-ending process. That is why our 8th UU principle that's what our 8th UU principle calls us to, and is why it is so important. As always, I have faith that we can do this work together. We can transform ourselves and the world around us. So please read with me our congregational covenant. We, the people of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Lakeland, in our effort to promote the true spirit of our guiding principles, hereby commit our lives and resources with the following covenant. I will, with patience and understanding, treat all others with kindness and respect. I will be sensitive to the needs of others, treat them with civility, and honor their confidentiality. I will promote a harmonious spirit and a truly welcoming congregation by my personal caring and positive attitude. I will promote democracy by speaking with candor, respecting the right, seeking consensus, and honoring the will of the majority. I will seek to possess an open mind and a respect for different views different from my own. I will support our congregation by volunteering my time and fulfilling my commitments. And I would just like to say, if you have questions about any of that, if any of it makes you feel uncomfortable, please come talk to me. That's what I'm here for. We can talk about this together. We can get to a good place of understanding. You all have your 8 principles as well. We won't read them together, but I know that you will be reading them on your own. So, covenant, it's not about being right or wrong, in or out, on one side or the other. It's about being and doing together, holding ourselves and one another accountable in loving ways. When you interact in this world, think about how your voice impacts another's senses and how they construct meaning from it. Are you cultivating relationships with your voice? Are you honoring our covenants with your voice? Are you sharing what is spiritually delightful, pleasing another's senses and perception of the world? It's almost like you can do magic with your speech and your voice in order to bring more delight into the world. Judy, would you please read our closing words?
These closing words are from Adrienne Marie Brown, entitled Spell for Reclaiming the Moment. We are a delight. We could be another's blessing with our brief and epic lives, where every day we are given the option of love. Please join me as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world.
Well, we all get ideas. Here it is, Fred. Rooted in our sensual experiences. Let us bring to life that which delights us. Let us bring our ideas,